Sitting here with Mike Holt in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Pretty famous you are, Mike, in case you didn't notice that, especially in the electrical industry. So welcome to the line.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity. I'm not sure what this is all about, to be honest with you, and what's going to go on, but I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, the line is powered by Blackline, and Blackline is a company that exists to lift the view of the skilled trades. So we want to communicate value to people in training in the electrical, mechanical, and plumbing space, and also just overall trades. We want to be communicating the stories of tradesmen and tradeswomen and how you can have a good life and a good career, make good money, and be fulfilled doing work with your hands. So
I as an electrician, I just think the electrical industry it's been fascinating, and I'm so excited. And my son's an electrical contractor. You know what I mean? And his wife is an apprentice. You know what I mean?
Come on.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
That's
I love
awesome.
the electrical industry.
That's awesome. So just a little bit about the line. We didn't really get to talk to it earlier. We're going to ask a couple of questions, and we don't edit anything here on the line. So we're all about real and authentic. So if you want to edit it, keep it up here. Don't let it come out down here.
It'll be okay.
So, Mike, why don't you we were walking around doing the warm-up this morning, and I just think it's really important to talk to you, if you're listening, how real and authentic Mike is. A few weeks ago, I messaged you on Instagram, and you said, sure, give me a call. And gave me a number on Instagram, and I was like, called up the number, and you answered the phone, and I'm like, yeah, I'm calling for Mike. You're like, this is Mike. And we went, first time ever this morning, doing a warm-up for the podcast, and we go for a walk, and we're talking as we're walking through this beautiful countryside here, and your phone rings, and you take the call, and it's someone calling you about just wanting to say thank you for how you've invested in their life and helping them become an electrician. And I was fascinated by it. You have some posts that are going out right now where you're talking about Dinosaurs and the young guns. And it doesn't have anything to do with age. And you don't know this, but when I was an apprentice, I was 18, and sitting next to me was a 45-year-old man trying to restart his life in a whole new career.
Yeah, I love those guys. Oh my gosh, I love people who have, like, at some point realized I want something different, and somehow they got involved in the electrical trade, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is it.
Yeah. Well, I think that we even talked a little bit this morning just about the trade and how, boy, I hope this is okay. I don't want to offend you on the podcast, but
No.
I might. But I've seen some of the comments. Well, I got to watch you personally answer comments this morning on Instagram and your other platforms. You actually, not only do you take the calls, but you're answering the comments, which I think it takes a lot to probably offend you, because you handle comments pretty good.
People are people. You know what I mean?
Just don't piss you off.
Well, what bothers me is what I don't appreciate, whether it be in a classroom setting.
Yeah.
And I take social media, as far as I'm concerned, this is an extension of me teaching.
Come on.
I'm giving the knowledge I have for the next generation, or for the current generation, because I just didn't have that. And I know how I felt so inadequate. And when I make an effort, like if I'm doing something social media, it's like I'm doing something in a classroom.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a student come up and say, well, I wouldn't do it that way, or, oh, no, you can't do it that way, or the code is a bunch of crap, or something like that. Well, I would, and it's like, it's a distraction.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned to you a little earlier, sometimes I'll get 1,000 or 1,500 comments. I could easily get hundreds of emails. I get tons of phone calls a day. Wow. And I don't. You ask me a question. Well, why do you answer the phone every time, and why do you answer the emails every time, and why do you have to actually read every single comment and respond in some way? Why is that? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I feel compelled that I always appreciated when I was starting, and not many people helped me. But if I asked somebody a question, they took the time to answer it, and I appreciate that. So what bothers me is somebody just being a distraction.
Yeah.
Just trying to annoy it. It's like, I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll spend 15 hours a day answering comments.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So we have to figure that out. So that's the only thing that bothers me is when you don't respect the code.
Yeah. You
don't respect my effort, my time. Yeah. Goodbye.
Yeah.
No problem.
So I watched you do that today, and answer. And it was an older gentleman, just like when I was in class, even older.
He was 62. They got to call me
62.
today.
Yeah,
He's studying for his
62.
journeyman's test. Yes.
Yeah. And you took the call, and he just called to say thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that is important for us to remember in the trades, that you're doing the things that the journeyman that taught me to be an electrician did for me.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking the time to invest in them. And it really isn't, that might have been 2 minutes of your morning. And the way that you affected him, I mean, I was standing there while you were on the call, and he's like, just wanted to say thank you. And you're like, that's it? Like, yeah. So I appreciate your authenticity.
Well, you know what's happened over, I've been doing this almost 50 years, okay? This is 49 years I've been teaching, and I was an electrician before that. So it's over 50 years. What I found over the years is somebody will come up to me and shake my hand and say, hey, Mike, I sent you an email one time and then you responded, or I called you and you responded. This is before social media. He said, or I asked you a question and you stopped at the end of the class, early in the class. and this is something he'll tell me this, or even she, a lot of times we have ladies also, years later saying that was the defining moment.
Yeah.
And I realized that me picking up that phone call and talking to that gentleman, 62 years old, studying for his journeyman, and I told him, don't be studying for your journeyman, go for the masters, right?
I heard you say it.
I'm pushing. Let's
I heard you
not
say
go
it.
for the journeyman. Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I realized if I never talked to him again, that might be something that's defined his life for the rest of his life. And I've had so many of those experiences that I recognize my contact can make a difference in somebody's career.
Come on.
And so that's why I guess, well, Mike, why do you feel compelled to answer every comment? Well, because maybe I can somehow touch that person in a way that would be like, and a lot of the stuff I'm doing now with social media, simple little 1-minute videos on the code. I got a guy, hey, Mike, you got me excited about the code now.
Well, and I got to tell you, that's something that's impressive to get guys excited about the code.
Yeah.
Because the code isn't always exciting. And don't throw stones, but,
it can be.
It can be.
You come to my class, trust me, it's exciting. It can be exciting.
Well, so just if you can, tell us a little bit about your origins. How did you become an electrician, and why? In 3 minutes, just to make it challenging.
I was very poor. My family was very poor. I went to like 26 schools by the time I went to middle school. Slept in families, couches, basements. We had no money. I didn't have a father, in effect. And I struggled. At the age of 12, I was going to go to middle school, and I had no clothes. I was embarrassed. So I got a job as a paper boy, starting at 12 years old.
No way, me too.
Yeah. And I did it for 5 years. It was really hard, 7 days a week, getting up at 5 in the morning or whatever it is. And I studied, and I worked hard, and I saved every single penny I had. So the day before I went to school, I'll have to get you guys a picture what I look like. I went out into Coral Gables in Miami area, and I went to the finest store that the young people were buying clothes from. I think it was called Tony's at the time. And I bought all my fine clothes. And when I went to school, you thought I was rich. I just felt good about myself.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be an astronaut. That would have been 66 or something like that. And the only way I could figure to get into it was to get into the military, Air Force. My father had been in the Air Force. I went to University of Miami, and I sat there and I watched the ROTC guys practicing, thinking, okay, that's how I can get to college. That's how I can become a scientist. I have to be a scientist to be able to be an astronaut, in my mind at the time. Well, got a girl pregnant, 17 years old, became a dad.
Yeah.
And dropped out of high school, and I just worked. I still did a newspaper in the morning, and then all day long I went to school so that I could study to get my GED, and then I worked at nights. And so I did that until I finally got my GED, and then I just worked in programming, computer programming. I seemed to have an aptitude for that, and it wasn't what I wanted to do, and I got fired. I think I got fired. I quit. Whatever the scenario was, I think I just quit that one. I got fired many times before that. And my neighbor was an electrician. And for some reason, I had a passion for electricity. Even when I was in high school, I was in a band. I played drums in middle school. But in high school, I took an electrical class. They had wood shop and automotive repair. And I went electrical. Well, after the first week, they said, well, there's too many people here. They kicked out 3 students. And I was one of the people that get kicked out. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I went in the band. And so then at some point, my neighbor's an electrician. I thought, I have no job. I don't know what to do. So he said, well, I said, how can I be an electrician? He goes, well, I know somebody. He says, I'm going to find out. So he told them that I had experience. I went to his house across the street, and he showed me the truck, and this is a side cutter, and this is a box, and this is, he's telling me all these things, and I have no clue.
And what year was this, just to give us some
That would
context?
have been about 1969.
Okay, 1969.
Yeah, about 1969, in the 60s. And he lied, and I went to work the next day, and it was a bunch of duplexes, and all we did was pull feeders. Just pull feeders. So you didn't have to know anything, right? To pull feeders. And the funniest thing, oh my gosh, I wish I could have had a picture of Mike Holt. Monday morning, the following week, I pulled feeders all week long. Now I was a programmer, right? So it was just keyboards. No, it was the punch cards at that time, and the reels and all the machines and things like that at that time. I came Monday morning to work. I had 10 Band-Aids on my 10 fingers. I wore the skin pulling feeders off of my fingers. And guess what I did? I bought a Craftsman toolbox.
Come on.
And I had a Craftsman tool pouch. Oh, my gosh. And all Craftsman tools. I didn't know you got to use Klein. Are you kidding me?
Klein's going to love that you just said that.
So I walk in with 10 Band-Aids, carrying my toolbox, going into the shop, you know what I mean, with my pouch on and my tools on, so proud of myself. I'm like, oh, man, what a geek I was. And so that's how I got into the trade. And then I found out there was a journeyman's test. I don't know how much you want to tell the story.
Oh, no, this is good. This is good.
There was a journeyman's exam. If you get a journeyman's, you make more money. I'm like, okay, so how do you study for a journeyman's?
Yeah.
And they said, well, the tests are all fixed. You can't really pass that. You got to know the mayor.
Oh, that's funny. We still say that today sometimes.
I'm sure. You got to know somebody. They only get so many quotas. And I'm like, I don't know. And there were no books.
There were no books.
There were no books. There was nothing to study. I'm like, well, how do you pass the test? You don't have books. But there was a book called Odell's Electricians Civil Service Exam. I don't even know if they even make that book anymore. Wow. So I got that. And at that time, we didn't have copy machines, okay? We had mimeograph machines. And this is where they would run this thing through this machine, and I don't know how it all worked out.
Welcome to the line. We take you back in time.
And they had I found pieces of paper of questions somehow, but no answers. No, how did that work? It out? Just questions.
Wow.
And so I studied, and I studied with 2 other guys. I took the test, and I scored a 96.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, guess what that means? It's not fixed.
Yeah.
And I'm not married to my wife now, but I was married to somebody at the time. And she was teaching classes at high school. She goes, I said, I can't believe this. Everybody was saying you can't pass. I can make more money now. I can take care of my family. I got a baby, right? I got my little daughter, Belinda. And I couldn't believe this. And she goes, well, why don't you teach a class for the journeymen? Why don't you teach the class? I'm like, I'm just an electrician. I'm not going to teach a class, but you passed it. You got a 96. Yeah. And the other 2 guys you studied with, you were teaching them, okay? You were teaching them. So why don't you do it? I'm like, so I go to high school. It was Nova High School in Davie, Florida. I saw the night principal, and he says, well, I don't know, a journeyman's test, whatever that means, sure, we can advertise it. And if you get 16 students, then we will run the class. I'm like,
come on.
Okay. So we advertise it. We get to the classroom. You go into a cafetorium, and you have the signs or guitars and floral arrangements and an electrical. And so I go and I get there early, and I'm freaking out. And I sit down there, and I'm 22 years old. 23 years old. 22, 20. And I'm sitting there by myself. And then hours before they're ready to get there, it fills all up in the whole room. And everybody's talking, hey, man, they're all talking about this class and the journeyman's test. We're going to take the test. Who's the teacher? Who's this guy, Mike Holt, this and that? And I realize I'm the youngest person in the entire group. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I'm dead here. What am I going to do? By the way, just so you know, the next day I grew a mustache and a beard.
Yeah.
I don't have a beard right now.
Yeah.
If you look at my old pictures, ask me some pictures, I'll get them to you. I have a beard. Try to look older.
Yeah.
Okay. And I look just like Billy Crystal. If you look at Billy Crystal, I would travel anywhere I would travel. People in elevators, are you Billy Crystal? I'm like, no, not Billy Crystal. So at that time, I really looked like him at the time. So 80 people were in the classroom. I'm leaving
Wow.
that cafetorium.
Your first class,
My
80
first
people.
class was 80 people.
That's not intimidating at
and
all.
I am shaking and freaking out. So we have to open up the accordion door so we could have 2 rooms inside there.
Come on.
3 weeks later, I get a call from an organization about an hour or so away. They wanted me to teach for them exam prep. I'm like, okay, you can do it on Saturdays instead of doing it, 2 nights a week. I'm like, okay, then maybe I think it'd be a little bit more money. And we talked about it, negotiated a price in some way. I was going to teach. I came back to the classroom on the 4th week. Guys, listen, there's a 9-week course. At the end of the 9-week course, I'm done. They're like, no, Mike, don't do that. You got to stay doing this. Don't work for anybody else. Do your own thing. I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Mike, you got to do your own thing, this and that. Now, there were 12 electrical inspectors in that class of the 80 people because in Florida at the time, Fort Lauderdale, there was all kinds of illegal things going on, people doing paybacks, paying money off, and that kind of stuff. And so they had a requirement that in 1 year,
We're from the Northeast. We know nothing about that stuff.
And so what they did in Florida, in Broward County at that time, they required every inspector. They were never licensed. They were all just mayor's friends. They were all little city. They had to be all licensed as a master electrician.
Okay.
So the 12 inspectors were in my classroom. And by the way, I was teaching a master's class. I only have a journeyman's course. I was teaching the class, and I was taking the master's exam at the end of the 9 weeks with them. I'm just saying, that's how I started. So the inspectors, Mike, we were in the Navy, we're this and that. Oh, you do your own thing. You got a gift about you. I'm like, no. So then I come back after break, and I sit down on the table, big oak chair, and I have cut-off shorts, you know what I mean? I'm just an electrician. I said, guys, you guys say I shouldn't be teaching for them. I should go my own thing. I'm like, okay. But if I did it, and if I charge you $125 for the journeymans and $175 for the masters, and if you don't pass this course, how many of you guys would actually take my class? Guess what happened? 50 people raised their hand, and I'm like,
wow.
crap. Now what do I do, right?
Right.
I thought 12 people, 3 people, that solves that problem. A little marketing. I didn't know that I was already a business kind of guy. So I decided, okay, 50 people, 125, 170. Average 150, 50 times 150, that's 7,500. That's probably like almost half of my pay. Okay, as an electrician at the time. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. So I tell the people in Miami, listen, I'm not going to do the class for you. Okay, they were not happy, but they went out of business, ultimately. The very first class I teach then in January, in whatever that year was going to be, I printed books. I wrote a book. I still have the original pages of the original book where you can see the whiteouts, all typewrite. Every single page of the original book, we still have that. I print up 50 copies of the book. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to register. Here's the hotel, and just attend it, and then we'll see how it goes.
Wow.
50 people showed up. I had no book for me to teach. So I had to give all the books out. So and then guess what happened? You don't pay anything for the first class. It's free. And if you come back the next week, then you pay. Well, got to realize something. In the early 70s, we didn't have credit cards.
Yeah.
Didn't have checks. It was all cash. So the second week, I get paid all cash from every student, 50 students. Seriously, I go in my closet and I throw the money up. All the cash and close the door in the closet. I mean, I just throw all the money up and it all comes stuff down. Like, oh my gosh, I'm rich. I can't believe this.
Oh, that's
and then I
awesome.
realized, I got to pay for the printing of the books.
Welcome to entrepreneurial business.
I got to pay for the hotel. I got to pay for all these expenses. I didn't understand the concept. So that's how it started.
Okay.
Me teaching. And then I got a call many years later. Somebody asked me to write a book. I said, sure. What do you want to write it on? I don't know. You call me. Well, what do you think? I'm like, how about understanding the national code?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm thinking, I must be so smart because there was no such book like that. Because if there was, I would have bought it.
Right.
If there was no book. Or maybe nobody really wanted that book. That's why there was no book.
Right.
So the first book was, as an author, was exam prep, understanding the national code. And then the publisher wasn't really good with me.
Yeah.
They kind of like screwed me around. And so they were a $7 billion publishing company, and I'm like a little tiny peasant, little tiny
Yeah.
business person. And I told them, nope, I'm not writing your books anymore, and you're not selling my books anymore. And I sent them a letter. Now,
Well, you're a real straight shooter kind of guy.
I sent them a letter. I said, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll let you sell my books. But you're going to buy them from me now. So 3 weeks later, they agreed to 100% of my terms. My lawyer said he had never seen that his entire life. A $7 billion company
Agreed to
agreed
this
to every
little.
one of my terms. And guess what happened? They had already gotten all my books in the schools.
Wow.
They were at that time, like they were Del Mar Publishing or whatever the case may be. They had already gotten to schools. And so now I get all my books back. I call the shipping department up the company, if it was Del Mar, whatever the name of the company was at the time. I said, hey, guess what, guys? You guys aren't going to be selling my books anymore. So, people are going to ask, so could you do me a favor? Could you give me a list of all the schools that are using our books? I said, sure, Mike, no problem. So I got all the schools, all the names, all the people, everything. The next morning, I became a publisher, and they all bought the books from me.
Wow.
So then I'm moving into the publishing business. So that's how the career has evolved from lie to get into the electrical trade. Mike, why did you go to union? Guys, trust me, in the 60s, you weren't getting into union.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to know your brother was in it, your father was in it. It was like something that it was like a holy grail. It was like a special thing. So I tried. Matter of fact, Tri-City Electric, I used to live right down the street from them. And when I was in Miami, the Union Hall in Miami, I forgot, was it 349 or something like that? Maybe that's Fort Lauderdale. I can't remember what it was. I used to go right by it all the time. So that's why electricity, the whole thing. And so I wasn't able to get into any kind of apprenticeship program. So I had to study on my own, had to do every single thing on my own. And I think this benefited me because I don't have all this crazy stuff in my head programmed of all the stuff. I didn't know better. I don't know. All I know is I don't know. Let me open the code. That's what it says.
Yeah.
So that's the story.
That's good. That's good. I think the thing that I'm extracting out of that is I had a conversation with someone a few months ago, and they said, you just got to get out there and do it. And that's a lot of what your story is. It's like it didn't exist.
I don't know if I would say it that way. It's not a matter of going out and do it. I have goals. My life is really simple. It's really not complicated at all.
Come on.
I'm taking care of my family.
Come on.
I got a baby.
Come on.
What do I got to do? Take care of my family.
Yeah.
Well, I got to work. Okay, but how can I make more money? Well, I have to get more educated. I have to put myself in a position. So, there was a time I had 7 kids in my family and I had a foreclosure. I guess they tape it right on the garage door.
Wow.
7 kids are living in the house. I have no money in the 1990s, 1991, the recession, the whole thing. I hadn't gotten a paycheck for 6 months. I had spent all the money, and I'm writing my very first book. And my wife is like, and I'm paying desktop publishing, and I'm paying graphic designers, and I get no money. She comes to me and she goes, what are we going to do? All you're doing is working like 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for months, and we don't have a paycheck.
Yeah.
What is your plan? I'm like, I don't know. I just know for a fact, if I don't do this book, I am out of business.
Yeah.
If I finish this book, maybe I won't be out of business. I finished the book, the very first book, Understanding the National Electrical Code. And then, of course, I wrote many books after that. So it was, I think, a desire. The overall desire was I'm taking care of my family. And sometimes as I do social media, I'm telling people, hey, Mike, I passed my journeyman's test, passed my master's test. I'm like, that's amazing that you put your family first because you don't do that for yourself.
Yeah.
You do that because you're going to be able to take care of other people. So it's a matter of going out and do it. It's a matter of saying, I have no choice. See, I was blessed. I had nothing, right?
Come on.
I have a beautiful home here. You can see the background. It's all lovely. You know what? I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of this stuff because I don't care about money.
Yeah.
I don't have a girlfriend, right? So, I don't need money. I got a wife.
I don't have a girlfriend. I have a wife.
If I had a girlfriend, well, I'm trying to, I don't know, but I don't care about money. I got my mountain bikes. You know what I mean? I'm a simple guy.
Yeah.
When you're poor, guess what? You're always poor. That's never going to change.
Yeah.
And so I don't care about anything. All I care about is doing taking care of my family, honoring God first, taking care of my family, taking care of my craft. I mean, how cool is that to be able to go to bed at nighttime? No, man, Mike, you just spent 15 hours answering some stupid comments from some people, but you know that you touched one person that day.
Come on.
You changed maybe one person's life. And you know what? That's all I need.
Mike Holt laying out wisdom right here on the line.
Just, I got a simple.
Yeah. Well, let's break it up here and make it a little bit fun. I have a question for you. This is a simple question.
Okay.
I ask everybody this question.
Okay.
So what is a piece of gear or a tool that you cannot live without? I think that I might know the answer to this, but I could be wrong.
A tool I can't live without. I guess Allen wrenches.
Okay, I love that. No one has ever said that on the podcast. Allen wrenches. Allen wrenches. So why Allen wrenches?
Well, you see my bikes as you went by here, and that's just only a couple of my bikes. One day soon, I need to go get all my bikes, get all my gear. Okay, this is a cross-country bike, and show my helmet and my gloves and my padding, and then all the way up to the high level where I have downhill mountain biking, and you can see it almost looks like a gladiator setup, okay? And I have all my bikes, and I get the Shock Whiz, which allows me to analyze, computerize my shocks, and how is it set up? Is it enough air pressure? Is the rebound? How's the compression going inside there? I got magnetic pedals where the bottom of my plate, I customized some metal plates in the bottom. The pedals are magnetic because I broke my ankle last year because I was clipped in and I went down and they unclipped, so I broke that there. And so I have special handlebars that have the flexibility to it because I do big jumps, and if I'm short, I land hard inside there. I have special spokes, bird spokes. I mean, I have everything in there, but none of it matters if I can't be like, okay, I got to adjust the seat, I got to adjust the bars. Every single thing all day long I'm doing is working and playing on my bike. I need my Allen wrenches. I mean, without that, I can't even adjust my seat. When I ride my bike, I go uphill. Okay, I want my seat to be higher, even though I got a dropper. When I go downhill, I want the seat to be lower because I'm getting very aggressive. You know, I don't want to get caught in the seat. So I have to have my Allen wrenches.
So there you have it. The tool that Mike Holt can't live without is Allen wrenches. So in a second here, I want to actually answer some comments with you.
Okay.
We sat this morning, and you allowed me to sit with you in your office while you answered comments. That was an honor. Thank you. I think I learned some things. Go figure. I'm with Mike Holt, and I'm learning some things. I mean, you kind of built a business on that.
I have to tell you a story, and I don't know how I'm going to handle this. This is a problem.
You do know Mike, whatever you say, we put online.
I know.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, listen, I see you're going to be in Utah. Man, I live here in Moab. You want to come ride with me? Hey, Mike, I see you're in Phoenix. You want to come ride with me? Okay, the first time it didn't go well. To go riding, mountain biking with electricians. And the first time you do something, it's called oblivious. You don't know. And it doesn't go well, okay? And the second time, you learn more, but now it's called a mistake. You know, and then if you keep doing the same thing, well, now it's called a problem. Okay, so the first one in Phoenix was oblivious. I go riding with people, and I'm sorry, I really hate being Mike Holt. I really hate being Mike Holt. So, you licensed? Oh, I'm working on it. All right, so that means you're not licensed. Well, I'm working on it. No, you're not working on it. No, I'm working on it. I'm like, no, you don't work on it. You are doing it. You're studying. Right. You're actively studying. Well, I'm doing it slowly a little bit. I'm like, no, listen, no, that's not how it works. Right. Get your license. So now I'm yelling at the guys that are so excited to see Mike Holt. One guy I had dinner with, and the guy's telling me that he just got his master license. He's going to go and he's starting contracting, and he bid 3 large custom homes. I'm like, have you done a custom home before? No. I'm like, I hope you don't get the job. I didn't realize that. Oh, he went really upset with me. And he might even be watching this thing. And I apologized. And I called you and I told you I was apologized, I'm like, here's my problem. Mike Holt unfortunately, it's Mike Holt. I'm very transparent. I'm very honest. I'm straightforward. I don't even know I'm pissing you off. You know what I mean?
I don't even know I'm pissing you off.
I don't even know that. I'm thinking I'm just having a conversation with you. I hope you don't get the jobs. And he says, well, I said, how could you bid a large custom home? You've never done it. He goes, well, my buddy, he's a builder, and he told me he's going to help me through this. And I got another friend of mine. I'm like, you can't go into business and bid a custom home you've never done before. You don't know the labor units. You don't know anything about that. I hope you don't get it, because if you get it, I mean, I got a master electrician. I know a guy who's a builder. He's going to build 3 custom homes. He's going to help me. Listen, builders are just out there to screw you for all practical purposes. They're not trying to get a new guy because they're trying to help you. They're trying to be able to cut their costs on the next guy. I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's called
Laying
business.
down wisdom again.
Okay, it's called wisdom. Business. And it's like, but in my head, my brain, I'm like, I'm trying to stop you from getting destroyed. Only because, you know what, Mike Holt's done this for 50 years. This isn't my first rodeo.
Yeah.
I see a guy getting his master's license, doesn't have any clue how to run a business. I know I didn't know how to run a business. I teach business math. And I'm hoping this person doesn't get the job, because I don't want to see him get destroyed.
Yeah.
You know, and so
It's ultimately
that's
because
the
you
bad
care.
thing about riding with Mike Holt. So now that did not go well at all. So then there's another guy was there. I went riding with another guy in Phoenix. You get your license? Oh, I'm working on it. Okay, well, then when are you going to start? I'm going to start. He had my course. He had everything. He just didn't done it. So I'm pushing him. Okay, well, then let's set a date. What date? What time? This was last December, November. Supposed to be June 1st. Tell my wife, you know what? That guy never called me after June 1st to tell me he passed. So now I go to Moab, ride with a couple guys up there. Took my master's course. He's an electrical contractor. One of the guys is a journeyman. Took my journeyman's course. No, he's studying for the journeymans. He's using my Holt course. Another guy is an apprenticeship. He's using the Mike Holt apprenticeship program. We had a great time. Because if you're with me, unfortunately, I'm going to push you.
Yeah.
Just pushing you.
I
Like
can
the guy
see that.
on the phone call. Taking my journeyman's. Now, you're 62 years old. Go for your master's.
Absolutely.
So that's the bad thing about being around. So I don't know about riding people mountain biking anymore.
If you're going to be with Mike Holt, he's going to push you. So we were answering some comments online earlier, and before I left, I don't know if you know this, but before I left for this trip, I don't do a lot of name dropping, but I sure did when you said that you would sit down and have an honest conversation with me. And I've been an electrician. You know, I sit behind a desk mostly now, but that's my trade. That's what I learned. That's what I went to apprenticeship for, and it's what I did for years. And so I relate with a lot of electricians, and we have the Blackline Institute, which teaches your curriculum, and we have in-person training, apprenticeship for people to learn electrical. And so I'm surrounded by electricians a lot. Mm-hmm. And so it was really cool. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to be sitting down having a conversation with Mike Holt. You know, you would think that they were teenage girls and you were Taylor Swift. Like, I'm not even kidding. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. So, and so then once I started to realize that, well, then I just started dropping your name for fun to watch these grown ass men act like little girls. Like, you're going to meet who? You're going to, what? Oh, you need to ask him this. You need to ask him that. So I've picked 2 or 3 questions that I said I would ask.
Hold on
you.
before you do that.
Yeah.
My daughter lives in Alaska, and she's going to have some heat, snow melting equipment put in. So I call up and just ask for a contractor. You know, just call, hey, listen, my daughter, this and that. The guy happened to be working from Alaska in Phoenix while I happened to be in Phoenix, okay, riding my bike. And he went crazy. So then my daughter says, Dad, you can't believe every single person that comes here. He goes, they're so afraid to do anything here.
Oh, yeah.
And all my family members, if there's anybody who goes, are you an electrician? Yeah. Oh, okay. All my family members. And I have 7 kids, right? And all the extended family, you know, all of them. They'll ask somebody like, yeah. Do you know Mike Holt? Mike Holt. And then they go on and goes, well, that's my father.
Oh, my goodness.
It's hilarious.
Well, like I told you, when I started the apprenticeship program, I used your curriculum and books that you had back then to help me understand the books that the school was giving me to learn from.
Yep.
And remember, I didn't even realize you were real. I thought you were dead. So I'm glad that you're alive.
Yeah.
So with that, let me ask you some of these Taylor Swift questions from electricians. I mean, Mike Holt questions.
Okay.
So some of them you've already answered. Let's see here. Here we go. This is one from a vice president of an electrical construction firm, and he asks, how does Mike keep his motivation and passion for the NEC? Is it a passion for teaching or a love of the trade?
Well, that's a question never been asked before. That's kind of strange. I was talking Brian House, who works with me. I think he's almost 50 years old now. He started taking my classes when he was 19, and he's works with me now for many, many years. And I said, Brian, I always talk to Mike Holt as a third person. It drives Brian crazy. And I'm like, I don't even know what a third person is. Well, because I'm an 8-time national barefoot water ski champion.
I knew you were going to get that in there in some way, shape, or
And
form.
because I was that way and I trained heavily, I mean, I would get in the water for training purposes. Just get in the water, and I would say, okay, Holtzy. They call me Holtzy in barefooting. Okay, Holtzy's up. Men's 3. Here we go. He's going to be. So I'm talking. I'm like, okay, this is the world championship. Getting ready for the first pass. So I'm saying this loud in the water to myself. I'm actually scared. My stomach is turning. I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Because this is just a practice.
Yeah.
But when I get to the world championship, I'm like, Holtzy, it's just practice, dude.
Yeah.
This is not a big deal at all. You've done this 10,000 times. You're going to absolutely kill it. And I do. And I absolutely killed it. I mean, you weren't even going to ever beat me, ever. That was never going to happen. So because I talked to myself in the third person, I told Brian this morning, I don't understand Mike Holt. I don't understand how I could be 73 years old. My sharpness is, I've never been sharper, faster, more efficient, mountain biking or anything I do. I don't understand that. I don't understand, like I made that little video yesterday about the young guns.
Yeah.
And I looked at it. And some of the guys like, Mike, I needed that. Man, you gave me some passion. You got me excited. And I'm looking at that. I was watching the video. I looked at it afterwards. I thought, as the third person looking at it, I'm like, you're pretty excited there. You have energy.
Yeah.
73 years old. You even thought about young gun being, doesn't matter, the age.
You actually called yourself a young gun.
Yeah. But it's all the stuff you'll see is a lot of times happening in real time to me because I don't even understand Mike Holt, to be honest with you. So why do I have passion? I think it's the same thing because when I was trying to become an electrician and trying to get licensed, there were no books, there was nothing. So when I created the very first book, it had to be color and it had to be illustrations that were exactly what you would see. Mm-hmm. Because the books I had before that, I couldn't understand anything at all. So my passion is because people have told me, Mike, you shook my hand that one day. Mike, you answered my phone call, Mike. And I realized that the code I'm passionate about, it's flawed. Oh, man, Mike, guy asked me yesterday, Mike, honestly, what do you think about AFCIs? Come on, I know you're Mike Holt, but what do you think about it? I'm like, I says, what did I say? I said, I think they're crap and I hate them. I mean, that's what I think.
You told me earlier that you would not lie, so.
So, I mean, so my point is the passion of making things safe, the passion of getting somebody excited, the passion of them being able to take it the next level. Why at 73 years old, I don't understand that. And I think the thing is that, again, the number one thing is God is first. God's given me a blessing. I was going to retire, supposedly. I was going to retire 10 years or so ago. We're thinking about that, or maybe longer than that.
You missed it. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, I missed it. And my pastor, he was 80-something years old, and he said, hey, Pastor, when are you going to retire? He goes, God's given me the opportunity to help lives of people. I'm not going to disrespect that.
Come on.
So for me, God's blessed me with a unique way of saying things and doing things and changing people's lives. It's a funny thing this morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, I'm laying there. Okay, just go to sleep. Just relax. Just go back to sleep. Yeah, but I'm thinking, but you know what? What about the video? There's a circuit breaker, the squirty circuit breaker. There's a label on this. It has on there, you can see that there's one wire if it's aluminum, but it's 2 wires. So you know what, Mike? You can cover 110.14 that talks about only 1 wire. I'm thinking about this in the middle. I'm thinking, dude, again, Mike Holt, dude, you're 73 years old. What the heck are you doing in the morning thinking for hours about what you're going to be covering that's going to piss off all the dinosaurs? Why do you do that? Why are you even thinking about this? And then I'm laughing at myself. I'm like, you're never going to die. Because if you wake up in the middle of the night like this, it's been going on for 50 years, you've been doing this, you wake up all the time and you're thinking all the time, you're so excited, you're so passionate, there's no way, Even if you got some of the plaques and the proteins in your brain for Alzheimer's, it isn't going to matter because your brain is going to rewire itself around all those blockades, and it's not going to matter. And so I don't know what the heck is going on here. I don't know. Sorry.
Honest answer. All right, last one. Let's see here. This one, I actually find it very enjoyable answering comments with you. Let's see here. And I'm mainly because you're answering them. I'm just asking the questions.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, this one comes from our director of education at the Blackline Institute, and
Is he a dinosaur?
he is not a dinosaur. Okay. He is not a dinosaur.
Okay, we got it.
He's a young man that has a love for the trade, and he loves teaching people. And I say he's a young man; he's in mid 30s,
Baby.
And but he absolutely loves sharing the trade with people and helping them understand.
That's what drives me. It's those guys that get excited. That's going to help the next generation. How cool that I can somehow be a leader in a way to inspire other people for them. Because one day, listen, my coat's going to be gone, right? We're not, none of us getting out alive, all right? So we got
none
that
of
worked
us
out.
get out alive.
So that is so cool. I love those kind of individuals. Go ahead.
Well, and just to be clear, so that you know this, not only do you affect him, but you're affecting each and every person in that classroom at the same time.
And you know what I'm affecting? Their wives, their kids.
Absolutely.
You see a guy who's never studied, he didn't finish high school, and he didn't think he'd do. He gets my course, and guess what? He gets at 5 in the morning, and he's killing it. He gets home at nighttime. He spends 3 or 4 hours at nighttime. He's working Saturday, studying. He's killing himself, and the family's just watching, like, what the heck? Now the kids are starting to study more. The wife is impressed.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so cool.
So this is from him. What advice or encouragement would you be willing to share with our apprentices? And let's just say this, with all apprentices everywhere, those guys that are, guys and girls that are out there like, I think I want to become an electrician. And let me drive a little bit, let me add something to his question. I remember when I was trying to decide what trade I would go into, and they were like, well, you can do this, this, or this, but electrical apprenticeship is 4 years. And in some places it's 5. And so it's like, I was 18 years old and I'm like, that's a lot. That's a long time. And so what could you say to those apprentices to encourage them in those 4 or 5 years?
That's a tough one. I've had students take my class and they did terrible. And then I would see them years later and they're the number 1 student in the class. I'm like, what the heck happened? When you were here a few years ago, I mean, you were just a total loser. I mean, you came late, you left early, you have all kinds of excuses. He goes, I wasn't ready. You talked about that gentleman, 45 years old.
Yeah.
You got to be ready. You got to understand how this works, okay?
Yeah.
You have to be responsible. You have to take care of your family. And, you know, one guy he called me that he just, like a phone call this morning. Hey, Mike, want to tell you I passed my exam, man. And he was telling me all kinds of stuff about how he studied.
Right.
And that his partner was with him, who was another electrician, but wasn't licensed. And he was yelling. He was complaining about the guy who just passed, that the guy would be on a treadmill with an iPad, and he'd be doing the courses and the questions and the answers because our courses it's hybrid. It could be either in class, book, whatever you want it to be. And the guy would be working like 20 or 30 hours a week studying, and this guy was just mocking him. And I said, listen, he did exactly, and I told the guy, he did exactly what my coach would have done. I would have worked, not even a question, 5 hours a day studying, not even what are you going to do for the rest of the day? Give me a break. You work for 8 or 10 hours. You got a few hours of sleep. You can eat in the closet with your food as the kids are screaming and yelling all over the place, and the wife is upset because, you know what I mean, she's handling all the responsibility. I don't really care. I'm getting my license, okay? That's 5 hours a day. Saturday, oh yeah, that's 10-hour day. Sunday, that's a 6-hour day. Easy 30 hours a week I would study. I wouldn't even think twice about that.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm taking care of my family.
Come on.
Okay? So the guy says, you know what? Finally, he says, you know, Mike, he says, I wish I had the desire to do what he did.
Yeah.
But I'm comfortable. I'm living at home. I don't have it. I have enough money. I don't need it. And I think we need to recognize people, and I say this in my management class, everybody has their own molecules.
Yeah.
Okay, my molecules, I'm pushing. Yesterday, when I rode my bike downhill real fast, almost went over the bars because I had a pedal strike. Really, really, really close. Do you think
Wow.
it slowed me down? No. Last year, I broke my shoulder. Did that slow me down? No. I broke my ankle. Did that slow me down? No. 3 years ago, I broke 11 ribs, collapsed lung, surgery on my diaphragm, liver was bruised. Do you think that slowed me down? I don't think so. So, but some people, and my wife is like the other extreme. Okay, she's not into any like that. And you know what? I think it's okay.
Yeah.
If you're like, that coat's not my thing, I just want to be a mechanic. I don't want to know about it. Just tell me what to do. Okay. Well, and I say we need people like that around, right? We can't have everybody like a Mike Holt because what the heck, how's that going to work out? Okay. So I think that people, it's going to hit them inside. You know what? There's something about this that I have a passion for. I have a drive for. And once you learn it, I want to share that. If you can get to the point that you want to share it, well, then you really want to be embracing it.
Yeah.
If you don't really care, it's okay. And you know what I do is I don't waste my time with you. It's okay. But there are people out there that are on fire, that are hungry, young people. And when I say young, they could be 50 years old getting in the trade.
Yeah.
More than likely, the older guys are the ones that really got it. Not the first rodeo. The young ones are like living at home, all this other stuff. Oh, I got to study. I get the homework. One guy said, well, Mike, it costs so much money to buy your course. I'm like, go buy somebody else's course. Like, I don't care if you buy my course. Yeah, and you know what? There is no other course you could take.
Yes.
I know. There is no other course you could take that's like my course.
Yeah.
So people put a value. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care how much it works. I don't care what I got to do. I don't care. There's nothing that slows me down. I don't care. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Done.
So
that's what I tell the apprentices. You got to get hungry. Got to have a need. Got to have a desire.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. Okay. Well, maybe you get a girlfriend. Maybe now you're going to get motivated. Maybe you're going to get married. Maybe you're going to get motivated. But it's the people around you that affect you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get people who are motivated. When I trained for barefooting, I'm 8-time national champion. I went around the world in competitions. Who do you think I trained with?
Yeah.
Only world champions.
Yeah.
That's who I trained with.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't train with you guys, just average person. I mean, I can't get to the next level. Hey, man.
Yeah.
You need to do this. You need to do that. Do this. Okay. Get back out there. Let's go. Come on. No, you're not coming in energy. Okay, fine. So you need to be inspired.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you're not.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, I don't care about that. Okay, good. We need people like you around.
Well, I think it's, I just was talking about this with a CEO of a $100 million organization the other day. And he said, comfort is a slow death. And he said it's a fast death in business. And he was, addressing that. And what you're saying is find what inspires you. You need to be inspired if you're going to be able to go through those 4 years. And if you're not, that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Go be a server.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Exactly. Okay. Good answer. So I want to ask you another question. And this question is a little bit more, the first one was a softball. This question is a little bit harder, but I always am telling people this story. If you listen to some of our podcasts, I might have even said it this way before, but when I was an apprentice, I would ride in a service van with journeymen that would share things with me, and I would learn from them. Like there was reading the books, and then there was learning the trade.
Yep.
And they would share with me mistakes and things that they had done wrong. And they would share with me what they learned from it. And as I've gotten older, I've experienced my own mistakes. And I want to ask you a question. Like we're in the service van here. We're riding, and there's a bunch of people with us. What is a mistake that Mike Holt has made?
Well, here's the problem. This bothers me when people say, oh, I made a mistake.
All right.
I'm like, that's a bunch of crap. More than likely,
You didn't even let me get the question out, so this is great.
Okay, well, we understand what a mistake is. We can't answer a question without knowing what a mistake is, okay? So let me give you my philosophy of life. Ready for this?
I want it.
One is called oblivious.
Okay.
Most times we're doing something we have never done it before, right? We don't have enough information. We don't have the skill. We don't know. We think we know what it is. And when it gets done, it doesn't go the way maybe it should have gone. People say, oh, I made a mistake. No, you didn't make a mistake. It's called oblivious. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now what's a mistake? Okay. I used to sign in my classroom setting in Fort Lauderdale, and it said this: a mistake is evidence that somebody was trying to do something. Okay. So now you do something, and it's like, oh, that didn't work out well at all. I shouldn't have taken that trail, or I shouldn't have done that drop, or I shouldn't have put in that wire. I shouldn't have. You look back now and say, wow, now if I did it again, I wouldn't have run the wire that way. I wouldn't have run the pipe that way. I wouldn't have done it this way. That's called oblivious.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing is a mistake. That's when you're like, okay, let me try something. And now that I know this, let me try something. And it doesn't work out perfectly. Let's assume you were going to fly an airplane. I'm not a pilot. And I wouldn't want to be a pilot because I would think that the plane landed fine with everything the way it was. Why would I check it again to take off? I mean, my mind is like, it's okay. I landed it. I mean, so, but there are people out there that are very anal. They got to double check. And my brain doesn't handle that at all. Okay. So I wouldn't be a good pilot. But let's assume I was going to be a pilot. I'm going to work on being a pilot. Well, even though you tell me how all these things work and how this operates, the first time I did things wrong, okay? It was oblivious. Oh, I didn't know if you did them both at the same time. Okay, so now I learned some things here. Do you think the next time I fly it's going to be flawless, or am I going to be making mistakes? Because I can't, right? So every single barefoot water skiing, I'm a highly ranked, one of the top. I was 61 years old when I went into the pro class. I was the
Google it. It comes up.
I was the oldest person to have ever gone into the Open Pro in the world or the United States, okay, at 61. Do you know how many mistakes it took me to get there?
Yeah.
How many falls at 47 miles an hour that I'm in the water and I can't even breathe? I'm thinking, why am I doing this? I'm not even getting paid for this. Hold on. All right, give me the handle. All right. Okay. And then I would get back up again.
Yeah.
But I went down the other day, 4 days ago, down this house. I was going flying, and there was this route, and there were some people. I normally would go around the route. I took the route. I went down. I slid down, and I'm like, hi. And they were like right next to me when I crashed inside here. Okay. And I was fine. I was all protected. Guess what I did? I walked back over and I looked at the route. I looked at my path. Every single, when I broke my shoulder.
Yeah.
When I broke my ribs.
Yeah.
When I collapsed my lung. When I broke my ankle. I immediately get up and I look and I find out, okay, what did I learn? And then I wrote it yesterday. I wrote it again. And I looked at that route and I didn't go over it. And I looked at that. I'm like, you going full speed, you hit that route, you are going to go over the bars. I mean, there is no way. What you should have done is just jump over it if you want to, but don't just boom and hit it.
Right.
My point is this. I tell my employees all the time, I want you to make mistakes.
Come on.
I want you to make as many mistakes.
Come on.
Think about this. How could you possibly learn anything if you do it perfect?
Come on.
How could you ever, listen, Brian and I had a conversation this morning about something. If we don't know if we should do something or not, I don't know if I should do it or not. Oh, yeah, you're going to do it. Yeah, but I don't know if I should. Yeah, that means you're going to do it. See, if you don't know if you know why? When you get done doing it, you're thinking, okay, well, I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
But guess what happened? You experienced a life, you did a world that you would have never, ever done, and you learned something you could have never learned, and that knowledge takes you to the next level.
Come on.
So now, mistakes are perfect. They're all fantastic. The more you make, the more success you come. Now, here's the next level. Oblivious. I didn't know anything about that. Okay, that's fine. Well, let me explain to you. Oh, okay, I got that. Now I'm making mistakes, and I'm getting better and better and better and better and better. But what about, a woman called me one time, Mike, what do you do if somebody gives you a bounced check? What do you do with that? I'm teaching business class. I'm like, well, how many times does it happen? They've given me 5 bounced checks. You think the first time you get a bounced check, you're not sure what to do as you're a business person? You're not quite sure exactly how to handle it? What do you think? You're not, and you do something, right?
Yeah.
You find out later on, okay, that was called oblivious.
Yeah.
The second time you get the check and you're trying something and it's didn't go right? You made a mistake. But 5 times in a row, guess what you have now?
Yeah.
It's called a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? So now there's 2 more levels. Ready for this? Oblivious, I didn't know. Okay, now I know. Okay, well, okay. Now let me start trying. Okay, now I'm going to start making mistakes, but I better learn. If I don't learn, if I go over that route again and I keep going over that route and I keep going down, or now there's a rock and I keep doing the same thing going down, but that's called a problem.
Yeah.
The next thing, and this is where people struggle. See, people don't know how to frame their life. The next thing is called life.
Oblivious, mistake, problem. Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
And now we're at life.
Now we're at life. You know what? I tell my young daughter, Brittany, and also my granddaughter, I found out later on, had a rule. 7 kids. Oldest sits in the front seat. Done deal. Do you know that there's no fighting about anybody sitting anywhere in a car when the oldest already sits in the front seat when it's delegated? Because nobody cares about anything else. But as long as nobody knows who sits in the front seat, because I would just take my kids only with me, right?
Yeah.
Now there's this battle. Before you even get in the car, hey, can I sit in the front seat? You know, they got all this maneuvering of all people trying to get what they want to, right? Front, oldest. My little baby, Brittany, and my granddaughter, my youngest granddaughter, Madison, they said, I'll just say Brittany for the moment, Daddy, she's like maybe 7, 8 years old. It's my birthday. Can I sit in the front seat? I said, no, baby, you're not the oldest. But I'm the youngest, and I'm never going to get in the front seat. So I got down on my knees, down to her level. I said, baby, somebody has to get screwed. Today's your day. She goes, they're like a little 7, 8 year old. She goes, okay, Daddy. And then we just moved on. I did the same thing to my little granddaughter. You know what? Suck it up. It's just the way it goes. And my kids call me all the time, Dad, tell me today's my day to get screwed. My son, he's an electrical contractor. Dad, tell me today's my day to get screwed. I said, son, and I told him, I said, son, we're past that point now. He goes, what do you mean? I said, you don't need to be calling me and telling me to tell you today's the day to get screwed. I said, you're an electrical contractor. You've reached a level now you can be matured. And guess what? You're not getting screwed. This is called life.
Yeah.
Don't let it affect you. No matter what it is, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because we can't do anything about it, right? We're talking about you can't do anything about it. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And this last one. Oblivious. Wow, I didn't know that. Mistake. Oh, gosh. Oh, I forgot. I was supposed to. Okay. I don't want to do a problem. So my Holt doesn't do any problems. Okay. I'm exploring, so I'm making a lot of mistakes. I'm always doing a lot of oblivious things, doing a lot of stupid things. Then we have life. That happens a lot. 7 kids. Are you kidding me? All my kids were perfect. They were all wonderful and great, and everything was lovely.
Thought you said you didn't lie.
Okay, fine. And now the last one is called stupidity. I'll give you a picture of stupidity. I lived in Florida for many years. You see a guy with flip-flops, cut-off shorts, riding a Harley, no shirt on, and no helmet.
Yeah.
Okay?
What could go wrong?
That's the poster child of stupidity, okay?
Yeah.
To me, stupidity, and I'm sorry if this is going to hurt somebody's feelings because I understand we've done things in our lives that we're not proud of, is being unfaithful. Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. Sex.
Yeah.
You're going to have sex with another person. I mean, really? You get one you can have sex with right now. I mean, why do you have to sit there? And how can you what do you think is going to happen, right? When you do something that you know for a fact it is stupid.
Yeah.
You know for a fact that there are consequences beyond what you would ever want. That's when the front lobe gets all messed up, you know what I mean? And then you can't make those decisions. That's called stupidity. So now let's try this game. Ready for this game?
I don't know if I'm ready for anything right now.
Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Ask me that question again. And want me to tell you what the question was?
Sure.
So, Mike, can you kind of share with us some of maybe the mistakes that you made that maybe would enlighten other people?
That's exactly what I'm trying to ask you.
I love all my mistakes.
Yeah.
That's how I grow.
Yeah.
I can't listen. I'm not doing anything stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not getting on a motorcycle. You see my gear. Some people are like, man, you look like a gladiator out there. Listen, I've broken 11 ribs. I've broken a shoulder. I've broken ankles. I've had collapsed lungs. Okay?
You've made the mistake. You've gotten the problem.
I've gotten all these things.
Yeah.
Okay, I got magnetic pedals inside here to clip inside here. So you could look at me and say, but guess what? I'm not stupid.
I find it interesting as I listen to you talk about that, you're learning.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to, like, okay, let me try something new. I don't know if I should do it or not. Let's go.
Yeah.
Guess what? Not doing that again.
Yeah.
Guess what? Okay, it didn't go the way it went, but you know what? Now that I've done that, and now that I've learned this, listen, how do you think Mike Holt, this stupid little kid that had nothing as a child, didn't have any schooling to go to, didn't have a mentor, didn't have anything, how did Mike Holt become Mike Holt? Well, because I was bold. I was okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to make any mistakes. Think about a person who doesn't make mistakes. What is that life like? It's over.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to take it. Now, guess what? Well, people have laughed at me my entire life.
Yeah.
They mocked me and laughed at me. Not so much today,
Yeah.
But you know why? Because I'm willing to make mistakes, and I embrace it.
Yeah.
Listen, it's life. It's okay.
Yeah.
So, no, I have nothing to share. Well, I had this big mistake. What? Something, it wasn't bad. Because guess what happens? When you make mistakes and you're driven to continue moving forward, if it wasn't for that experience in your life, you never would have gone to this next level. So you want those things. But here's what. You got to work hard. You got to stay committed. You have to honor God, okay? You got to take care of your family. It's not about me. It's not about you. I never do anything for Mike Holt. Ever. Never. And so it's easy. I'm doing it for you.
Come on.
How cool is that?
Well, I mean, I see you living that out just by inviting us here to sit here and have this honest conversation. There are other things that you could be doing, but you're doing this for us, those that are here, and for those that are listening.
Well, I rode my bike yesterday. I'll ride it tomorrow, so today's okay. That's why I said Wednesday. That's true.
Well, I greatly appreciate it.
We're okay.
I greatly appreciate it. Quite honestly, I think that I can't think of what else I want to ask you. Okay, I got one more question for you. Because one of our team members asked this question: if an electrician dies and goes to heaven, does he see Mike Holt at the pearly gates? And depending on how he died, do you send him one way or the other?
No, I think people think of me. They think much higher of me than I think of myself. And I don't understand why people think whatever they think of me. I think all of us individually, there are things about ourselves that we don't like.
Yeah.
You know, we're like,
That's definitely true for me.
you know what I mean? They were all like, and that's all part of that. And sometimes people think of us better than we think we are. You know what I mean? And I think people do it. And I try to be a role model. I try to be somebody. I think in today's world, maybe a waste of time, people are looking for honesty.
Yeah.
You know, they're looking for transparency. I see something. Hey, Mike, I saw this post, and I thought, oh, wow, man, that is such an honest, great post. And I realized, oh, it's from you, Mike Holt. That makes sense. And I want people to be able to have a source that say, you know what? Listen, put God first. Okay, this is not a complicated thing. And I know it's hard. And if you don't have God in front of you, like, man, I don't know how you handle difficult, tragical things, because they're just going to happen. But it's whatever. If you don't want to, like I tell people, this pissed off Christians. So if anyone watches, it's going to piss you off.
Did you just pissed off Christians?
It's going to piss off Christians,
Okay.
but I'm going to tell you right now.
All right.
It might even piss you off, and I don't really care, because that's not how I drive inside there.
I love it.
You ready for this?
This
my
I'm ready for.
My wife doesn't like this, and I don't know how to say it the best way to say it, because I said it, and a guy got upset with me. I'm like, I don't care if you go to hell. If you don't want to believe in God, and you want to live your own world, and you think all this somehow just came out of some kind of single cell, and it kind of explained, the theory of nothing, I don't care. You know what I mean? Because that's you. That's your molecules.
Yeah.
I pray that maybe somehow one day you realize, you know what? Maybe I can't do it all by myself.
Yeah.
So by me, and I wasn't always a Christian.
Yeah.
So don't misunderstand me there. And I never wanted to be a Christian. Oh my gosh. When I became saved, I was like, oh no, I'm a Christian. You got to be kidding me. I actually hate Christians. Because they're talk all this godly stuff and they use all this godly language. I don't even understand what they're talking about. They're acting like, hey, well, I want you to know, Mike, I'm a Christian. I'm like, oh man, this guy's going to try to screw me. You know what I mean? Because who goes out and says they're a Christian? I mean, why would you go out there and try to tell somebody? I mean, I don't understand the whole thing. So,
well, you're the guy that would send an email saying you pissed me off, but at the bottom of the email it would say, God bless you. So, I mean, So
Well, yeah,
that's you.
Well, that's me. I didn't look at it that way. I didn't think.
Well, I've gotten some emails from you, so I've seen that.
Well,
so.
I wouldn't have thought that would have pissed anybody off. I mean, I
Right.
just would have thought. I just was saying, hey, you pissed me off. I love you. Have a great day. God bless. I mean, I wouldn't have thought. My brain isn't thinking anything other than that. So, listen, we're out here for very long.
Yeah.
Learn your craft.
Yeah.
Get something inside you. Like, you know what? I'm doing a good job and I'm helping other people.
Come on.
If you want. If not, you have your
Yeah.
molecules and think about yourself only. And that's okay. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that really sums it up. Learn your craft. And if you want.
Yeah.
If you want. And if you don't.
Not everybody has to be successful.
Yeah.
You can just grow old and be complaining and be upset. And
Wow.
guess what? I don't care.
I can respect what you're saying, but I don't want to be that way. I don't want to grow old and complaining because
I don't.
I think that we kind of miss it sometimes with how fulfilling and satisfying life can be when we go after it.
Let me give you constructive criticism when you interview.
Okay.
You should have asked this question at the end. You ready for this?
I just want to stop here because it is my podcast. But let me just stop here and say
What?
this. Mike Holt, he's given me multiple constructive criticism. I feel like I'm in your class. I love it. I love it. This
You
is
are
great.
in my class.
Yeah.
The whole world's my class. Come on, don't misunderstand here. Okay, you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm
Okay.
ready.
So, Mike, you've done a lot in your life. You've accomplished a lot. Yeah. Did you do this without goals? Oh no, I had all kinds of goals. Okay. So listen, you're kind of like in the twilight of your career. You've achieved great things. You're at your pinnacle of your career and all that. What's your goal for the rest of your life? Good question.
Great question.
You ready for this? My goal is that first of all, my kids are not going to be taking care of me and none of this crap. Well, I want to die in my house. Give me that. Give me a break. No, I'm an old guy. I can't take care of myself. I need help. Listen, guess what's good news right now? I can wipe my butt. Think about this. Everybody watching this video, if you can wipe your butt, you better be really grateful because that's the number one thing you can do is wipe your butt.
The number one thing you can do
Number
is
one
wipe
thing is
your
wipe
butt.
your butt to be grateful for. Because guess what would happen? Why are you laughing? No, think about this. One day you're not going to be able to wipe your butt, and you're going to be sitting there thinking, man, I wish I could do this myself. I remember when I was able to wipe my butt. How difficult is it to have and you're not even appreciating that today? Are you kidding me? You have so much. So now, what's my final goal? Okay, well, I'm not going to be in this house, though it's a beautiful home, and my wife is not going to be taking care of me because that's not her job. She's too old at that particular time. Who knows? I'm 97 or whatever the case may be. I'm going to be in a nursing home, my goals. And I'm going to be, because I'm a very big flirt, I'm going to be flirting with all the nurses. I'm going to be telling them stories. They're going to want to come into my room because I'm just going to be this cutest little old guy possible. That's my goal. So when I'm in the nursing home, they're like, come with me. Let's go into this guy's, his name is Mike Holt. Let's go into his room. They're all 3 or 4 nurses going to be in there, and they're going to be telling me the things, and I'm going to be what? Just like I'm doing right now. I'm going to be teaching. And I'll be flirting with all nurses. That's my next goal.
So if I could be a fly on the wall when your team at your business sees this podcast come out, I would love to see their responses to you.
All right.
Oh, well, that's great. Mike Holt, thank you for stepping up to the line.
You can wipe your butt, be happy.
If you can wipe your butt, be happy. All right. That's the line. Thank you.
All right. God bless.
There we go. Some of the most fun I've ever had. I absolutely love it. Those were great answers. Oh, my word. That was such a pleasure.